It's Halloween all over again. I'm invisible. Hello, I'm Candid Stanisci of NLL Lacrosse Talk. Welcome to the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now on NLL Lacrosse Talk, our co-host Gary Groob and our very special guest, Arttu Sesselaar. He's the Netherlands women's box head coach. And just to give you an introduction of who he is, let's roll the tape.
Frank is pushing the buttons again.
No, this has nothing to do with me. Look on this one.
And so it begins. Our hero Arttu receives a royal invitation just 36 hours before meeting the king. Panic? Absolutely. Preparation? Ha! But there's no time for that. He's leaping head first, or possibly headless, onto a plane. Off to Albany, New York, because when you're chasing history, chaos is part of the package. A time-traveling whirlwind of ancient paths, royal meetings, and, oh yes, 2 years of hard work, no sleep, and no funding. Yes, dear viewers, 2 years of non-stop dedication have brought this story to life, and now we need your help to keep it going. Make a donation today to help this episode, and many others waiting to see the light of day come to fruition, because time waits for no one, and neither does this project. Help us change history by writing the future.
Absolutely. Well, it's good to know that there were no animals harmed in making that. Okay.
And it's good to see Neil wearing his traditional suit for once, because we always make him wear wooden shoes and orange jersey. So,
oh, very good. Well, I fit into the Netherlands approach of the way Netherlands people are. They're very calm. You can't tell by the look on their face how they feel. They have essentially good control of their emotions as far as when you're looking at them is concerned. So I'm practicing by having a blank expression on my face right now. You can't.
I thought you were just too close to your webcam.
Listen, welcome to the program. All kidding aside, we love lacrosse here. And we always begin by starting and asking everyone how they got involved with lacrosse. How did you get involved?
I was in a student fraternity, and my good friend Tim Wolbrink, he late in the night told me about this sport that his brother saw in the United States. He was studying there for a year. Strange thing with a net, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But a couple months later, he managed to get that stick in my hand, and ever since I was hooked, and I wanted to at least know how to throw the ball around. So there was nothing really set up yet, only a couple of expats and some interested people on a big square, the Museum Square in Amsterdam, where we have the Rijksmuseum and the big museums there. And we were tossing the ball around, and this is how Tim and the other guys managed to get some more people involved, and the rest is history. The Amsterdam club was always fortunate to have a lot of expats, so our skill level developed quite fast. At least we had some coaches and stuff around. Ray Birch, our first English coach, he did a very good job in coaching us. And at the same time, in other cities, the same thing went on too. And with a group of people, Dutch lacrosse took first lift off there. But for me, it was a first talk, and eventually getting that stick in my hand, and that took a little while. But as soon as I had that, I wanted to master it. And at the same with golf, but when I mastered that, I got bored with it and walked away again. But lacrosse kept me in for longer.
I guess you would have liked golf better if it was contact lacrosse.
Full contact golf, maybe with inline skates and some loud music. It's always great, yeah.
Well, listen, welcome to the program. And Gary, go ahead.
All right, well, you started around 2004, right, when you first got involved with it. Around 2006 was your first Worlds. Now, in order to get this together from 2004, 2006, you guys had to start from scratch. You guys had to form a federation. You guys had to find funding. You guys had to do everything yourselves. Talk about the early stages of this.
I love it. Like I'm an early stages kind of guy, yeah. But yeah, no, it was there was nothing. So anybody that had the time and had the interest to do anything was more than welcome. So we tried everything. Like so, it started with 2006, yeah, with that point on the map. And Jasper van der Horst, unfortunately, he could not make it today. He was supposed to be here too. He was already a little bit older, and he had some lacrosse experience, mainland Dutchy, and yeah, he came up with some idea of, hey, let's try to get this team to the World Championships, and yeah, together with a group of 4 other people, we just had to set up a federation. Jasper was a little bit more logistically informed in that, or bureaucratically informed, if you can say it that, because there's a lot of stuff coming with that too. But besides that, we just went like crazy horses to universities, trying to get a little bit of time before or before lessons to just show a stick and say, hey, if you want to start a club, come join us. And yeah, with the 4 or 5 teams that we had, we picked up 14, 15 guys that could afford to pay their ways themselves, because sports in the Netherlands, especially if you're a new sports, you have to figure it out yourself. You cannot get any funding, and it's already hard to find the field and get the funding out of your club to do that. So, hey, who's up for going to a world championship? It will cost you 3,000-4,000 it was euros already, because it was in London, Ontario, so it was quite an expensive trip. And yeah, so we had 15 guys, I think, and some of us, most of us, were only playing 2 years. So that was a fun experience. And yeah, we are lucky that we have a big group of Dutch ancestry in that area around. So we had Mr. Dirks as a coach. What's his first name again? And his son and some people around were involved in. His son was still playing, Jonas Dirks, and we got Graham Bergsma, we got Aaron Vander Horst, got some North American Dutchies who eventually turned into some hardcore Dutchies. Even some of them think they are more Dutch than we are, and the experience playing for the national team for a long time. Even some have Dutch tattoos. Hey, there you are.
Hey, Frank, you're looking better.
You moved back from the laptop a little bit further.
Yeah. Just it all. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, great.
Please carry on.
Yeah, so yeah, we got to 15, and we 15, 16, and we managed to get 20 guys around, and we had a lot of fun. And especially us Dutchies from the mainland Dutchland learned so much, and we brought that back to our clubs. And from then on, like the level in our different clubs and the people taking it a little bit more serious, seeing that it's actually an amazing sport with an amazing community, took it a little bit more serious towards the European Championships. But London, Ontario was amazing experience to just for us. We were mostly students, to actually live a life of an athlete for 2 weeks. So 2 weeks only sports and camaraderie. We most of us never had that experience because it was just the pioneers who wanted to play the sports. We were not the top athletes chosen out of a group of 1,000 athletes. No, it was just, hey guys, who wants to go to a world championship? So we actually did fairly good for the quality we had starting the 2 years before.
Right. Interestingly enough, you were able to get field hockey players to go there, because field hockey is big in the Netherlands, but not really non-contact or next to no contact. And I guess the selling point was, if you want to finish your check.
Yeah. And in that same time, like it was more towards 2008, but we started recruiting, because most of our clubs, because the way things are set up here, most of the clubs started with a field hockey club too, so it was easy to attract some people from there. And in the same time, there was a discussion in their national team of field hockey that the elite players wanted to have a little bit more contact, and or maybe even involved some security measurements or like protection in some situations, like the corner they have and these kind of things. And we jumped on that bandwagon a little bit as well, saying like, hey, if you want a little bit more contact, come. And we are just field hockey with an extra dimension through the air, and you get to bump your hips a little bit.
Right.
And yeah, the best players we recruited in the two-year period towards the European Championships were field hockey players that actually, when they got the hang of it, they had the field recognition, and they knew where to go, and the athleticism, because field hockey players, they play from when they are really young, right? So they are good athletes.
Now, there's a huge tie between lacrosse, well, really with the Haudenosaunee and the Dutch people. Let's talk a little bit about that and give a little bit of background to how this tie is, because when we bring Neil into the conversation, it'll all tie itself together.
Is he coming into this conversation?
Oh, well, he's going to come into our conversation.
Oh yeah, and it's later. It's a little bit later in the for me personally in the conversation. In 2006, I had the honor to meet Oren Lyons. We were sitting next to him at we were of course invited to the World Lacrosse meetings as well, and even though, like, when starting this sport, it's a sport from we didn't even know the name Haudenosaunee at that point yet, but they were then still called Iroquois as well. But it took for me even a really long time to really dive deep into this history, like it was told, but then we were always too busy to research it. So for me, it came into play, the story in 2012 when I met Neil at the European Championships. That was Field Lacrosse Championship that was organized in Amsterdam. Great tournament, awesome. It was men and women at the same tournament. That was the great thing, that we had this World Championships with box too. It's a whole other dimension for a tournament, because not only for the fans but for the teams to have this not intercultural but intersex gender experience together, which makes a total different and greater group dynamic, was at that tournament too. And it was the last time that happened for the field lacrosse, because everything became too big. But I was not involved in the operations of the tournament, but I made a silly talk show there, interviewing people on the side. That's where I met my brother Neil Paulus. He was promoting a film, Crooked Arrows, is a film about the heritage of the game, and we had a European premiere in on our oldest cinema in town. The whole tournament came there to watch it. It was amazing. That was our first introduction, actually, to really discover something about this, the heritage of the game. And 4 years now, Neil got involved with the field team, and when they separated a little bit, we started the box program, and we got him involved, and there our real friendship started. And by my interest, all of a sudden, I started to ask him more questions, and then the story about the relationship between the Dutch and the Haudenosaunee came on the path. And it's a really interesting piece of history that actually none of us here in the Netherlands knows about, and I kind of made it as a filmmaker and somebody that's really interested in history, untold stories, and challenging the status quo a little bit. My mission is how can I tell this story to our Dutch audience, because seemingly a lot of people there on the other side, let's say on the Haudenosaunee side, know a lot about this story, and they're always telling me about it, but why don't we know anything about it? So that's where my crusade came along to research it. But it's a bond, like we always learned that Henry Hudson went to North America, and I know what happened after. We don't really know about it, but everything is named after him, so he probably invented everything there. But finding out on learning the history that Henry Hudson actually was hired by the Dutch because he had the idea that he could go to the East Indies fast through North America, and that he saw on like this kind of secret map that he found. It was all very exciting times. Like everybody wanted to be at some point as the first. So we got Henry Hudson on board, and what happened? He got stuck there somewhere at the Hudson River, which at that point didn't carry his name yet. And yeah, in normal times, when you have a very important task and you work for a company and you fail this miserably, you get fired, right? But the way history played out, he got all the credits of the world. He pissed off after after 2 weeks, as I read it in some of the stories. And the Dutch keep coming back because there was an ice age in Europe. Not as heavy as the ones that wiped out the countries, but and all the fur in the east was sold out or very expensive. So the Dutch kept coming back to their Haudenosaunee friends that they made before, and it was not friendly at the beginning, if I read the stories, but still they accepted us back. And they started a trade relationship, like the Dutch traders. But out of that trading and out of that coming back, some kind of friendship appeared too. And eventually the Haudenosaunee saw that these Dutchmen, they are not going away. So maybe we should offer them a room in our house. And we make this relationship more stable, or like we would not survive if we would not have their backup anyway in the countries. But so yeah, they made there was already something for between the Haudenosaunee, but they made the Turo wampum, which is this is a replica that I got now that I was in the Mohawk Nation before the tournament. This is part of a ribbon shirt they made for me, which is actually a festive shirt. You see the Haudenosaunee team, for instance, wear that on their opening ceremonies, right? It's a silk shirt with the ribbons around, which actually has a Dutch history around it too. But so it's called the Turo wampum. The wampum is a Geschwenta, and they have several, or many of them. But this one is the one with the two purple lines, and that represents the river of life and the purple lines. So we travel the river of life. The one is the Haudenosaunee in their canoe with their laws and their religions and their culture. And the other one is us Dutch or Europeans. We were the first Europeans to actually have contact in our ships with our laws and our culture and our beliefs. And to agree to travel the river of life together, coexist, not intervene, not step with both legs in one ship, because eventually you will fall in the water. And the white represents the PFF, the peace, friendship forever. And our lions can say it very nicely: as long as the grass is green, as long as the water flows downhill, and as long as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. And as Neil's father always said, I checked this morning and it came up in the east. So, and I didn't see it this morning because it was already light when I woke up, but it's still there. And it's a wonderful story, especially in times that we are reflecting back on all stuff that has happened in the past. And as Dutch, we have played a major role in those stories. And even though all the stuff that's happened still in the Haudenosaunee territories, the people look with pride to this relationship, this first relationship, in these times. So it's something that should be celebrated. It's something positive out of these times. And in the Netherlands, nobody even knows about it. And
it goes back over 400 years, right?
Yeah, but so It makes me wild a little bit, but sometimes. But it's history, and it's a historical story. It's like, how do we move forward in the future with it, and how I have experienced it in my relationships, especially with Neil, through the sport, having a Haudenosaunee head coach for our box lacrosse program, and me as his assistant, learning from him the lacrosse stuff of life, our relationship, him learning so much from about the Dutch and me about the Haudenosaunee side. It's a wonderful experience together, how we travel this river of life together with our different lives, but through lacrosse, becoming one. And who else than to learn the sport from and to develop the game, especially box lacrosse game, than through Neil Paulus or any well-established Haudenosaunee player, because seeing these guys play, especially on this world level again, it's just so amazing. We played a couple of teams in our preparation, and it's just amazing how these people
Right.
these people play together. It's you see, it's more than a sport. It's
Well, it also shows how how close knit the lacrosse community is, because one of the other coaches that Neil brought in was Wayne Colley, who is a colleague and friend of mine, and here we are.
it is just
right?
like the World Championships. We had the World Championships, of course, now a month ago or a little bit longer, but that experience, besides all the lacrosse that's been going on and all the amazing stuff, and the women did really well and the men did great, the community is just so freaking amazing. It's just only smiles everywhere. You meet so many old friends that you know from all the stuff that you've been through. They have all been through all the same struggles we have all been through inside lacrosse, especially as smaller countries. And then again, my best friends at the tournament were even the volunteers. And Dr. Jerry, who was sitting there, was a fireman sitting there on the corner waiting for anything very bad to happen. Oh, I was laughing so loud with this guy, and we share so many great stories together through lacrosse and outside lacrosse. But for some reason, it really attracts the most amazing people around the world.
Right. Now,
I keep surprising myself, like how great this community is.
one of the things that really opened my eyes was my first couple of years back, my first trip to the Rebeski tournament, where you and I got together there as well. But just to see European lacrosse and how it's developed over the years. And, we talk about grassroots and we were new at this. It's not there anymore. It's like this. It's completely rocketed in most countries.
In most countries, yeah, but still, like there's some left behind, but we need to push them into. Field lacrosse has, of course, always been the main area of lacrosse in the whole of Europe. Because when I started, I always wanted to play lacrosse, and one time there was a box lacrosse tournament in the Netherlands. I had a broken hand, so I could not play. There was somewhere in 2006 or 2007, but. Yeah, so everybody comes from the field lacrosse. So most of the pioneers that started the box lacrosse, they already had a field lacrosse history, right? So even from there, coming from that one, jumping again into something new. So it's the pioneers of the pioneers. I got dragged into box again a little bit later when people were already starting it, but then because I left lacrosse for a little while. But then when I jumped in full pool and spent all my time to promote this sport and to do it. And again, now seeing the other countries that have their field teams now developing their box teams too, it's amazing. And yeah, there is a difference in the levels in Europe as well. But as several of them are doing it now at the same time, like we can bridge this gap, and you have two different setups or whatever. I saw the French team was playing last weekend. I was not there at the tournament, but they had their first French box team in that tournament, so that's great to see. Now you see Belgium developing really well. And now hope for the South and Eastern European countries to develop a little bit more too. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
Now, being as a player, now they convince you to be a coach because, well, of course, funding. They can't get over there all the time to the Netherlands, so they need somebody in Netherlands to do it. They bring the idea up to you, and how much do they have to twist your arm to start coaching?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I was not in the best shape of my life in 2017, so yeah, I didn't show the best performance, and I was very busy organizing the whole stuff too. So yeah, no, I had no problems stepping away. It was quite a new experience for me, so maybe a little bit nervous about that, especially coming into a group that you have been a learning player in yourself, right? We were only playing box lacrosse for 2 years, so
Right.
the great thing about box lacrosse, as at least how Neil and Wayne are teaching it to us, is it's quite simple, and you just try to do the same thing all over again. And in those simple things, the creativity can come from there. So I got managed to get that plan of like what is the way we play, and I got some good coaching from Neil and Wayne, and then again. It was all about stick skills. We in the Netherlands as well. We think we are all the greatest, but we can all work harder on our stick skills. So you can go through all the fancy stuff, but it's all about the basics, and all this other stuff comes behind it. So I did that for 2 years, and then we went to the championship in 2019. Still, it is hard to get people in the box. Like people are for one reason they are afraid of it. They are scared to get injured. They think they have to choose the one or the other. So again, we didn't have like the opportunity to pick from a big, massive group. So in 2019 as well, whoever wants to come, let's go. Let's go to World Championships. And same thing happened again. And there we came together as a great group of guys, because I think the best teams I have been in are the teams that are enjoying themselves, take it very serious, but not too serious,
Right.
and manage to enjoy themselves and come together as one, outside and inside the field. Before the tournament, Neil said we were going for a top 8 position, and he didn't even respond to that. And at the end of the tournament, I was hugging him and saying like, "Oh man, Neil, if I only believed you then, I would have had a much easier time." And he never quits to amaze me in these kind of situations. And yeah, it came together, and we got a 3-way tie in the 2019, and we went all the way to the last line of the rule book on how it would progress. You know, all these times when they have these meetings, you don't pay attention anymore because you think that will never come in play. And was actually a goal scored by a rookie when we were already winning the game. He shot on the open net. Then he came off, and one of our North American players came to him and said, "You can never do that anymore because, like, we already won the game, and but it's a different situation when it's a one game or it's a group game." And we found out because through that one goal that he told him was not allowed to make, we ended up first in the group instead of third.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But something else really major happened in that 2019 Worlds was that the girlfriends and wives came along, and they found out that there's women's box, which leads us into our story here and how we go into modern day era. And this was the formation of the Netherlands women's box lacrosse program. Let's talk about that and getting it off the ground.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, Kim Han and a couple other girls were there. They were girlfriends of. So they were So yeah, they were in the same hotel or around. So we had a car with Wayne and Neil, which always had 2 seats open. So eventually, we even kept driving the ladies up and down to their hotels, and they were so nice and so interested. And yeah, Wayne started to tell stories about the women playing box lacrosse there, and they met several of these ladies that were promoting the box lacrosse there. It's like I didn't even know like there was a women's box lacrosse, and they were so enthusiastic about it, especially Kim. And when we came back in 2019, there's like, okay, 2 months later, we had a first practice. That was amazing. And Kim was a goalie as well, and she wanted to be a goalie in box. So that's always handy when one of your pioneers is a goalie, right? That's always the thing you struggle with finding. And now, yeah, all of a sudden there were 20 girls on the first practice. It's like there was more than a man's practice, and I thought like, oh, how are the sticks gonna be? And the stick skills were amazing. Like, imagine tossing around with that unhandy women's stick. Like a man's stick, it's basically quite easy. And they were so appreciative. There was like saying thank you for the practice, and they're actually really listening to what we were saying and doing, and so eager to learn. And yeah, unfortunately, we had the whole COVID thing around, so it was a little bit difficult to do stuff. So it went down a little bit. But in between, when we had the gaps, they were coming, and then when the news came that there was a World Championship coming up, the girls they became insane. They were so motivated to do it, and we had a great team. We had
Well,
I cannot describe. Like it's been really a life-changing thing, and especially for reinventing your fun and joy of the game as well, right? You always have to reinvent yourself, and this was something special. Different, but special, because we're coming to the tournament. There was a lot of eye-opener as well, that there's quite a lot of difference in coaching a men's team and a women's team.
Oh, I imagine, yeah. But as you like to put it, and I really took it to heart when you said it, you guys made herstory.
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah. It actually comes from the ladies themselves, but
really?
yeah, I love it.
That's fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah.
What I watched there, and as that tournament went along, and I watched that team grow. But I watched the Hong Kong game was the first one that caught my attention. Was down by 5 at the half, and the comeback. And
these are these stories that you can say everything you want on this, and it's new for me too, right? As a coach, you can say always like, it's not over yet, but it's only not over yet when the team has experienced a situation like that they have this massive comeback, or it has happened to you, right? But I almost at that point I knew we were going to win that game, but I almost didn't believe myself when I said, come on, we're just take it easy. We're getting back into this game. And then when we did that, that was an amazing feeling. And then it was really tight, but that was an amazing game. And all the emotions came because the game before we played the opening game against Team USA. This was everything that was on the mind of these ladies for that first half year, right? When they knew they were going to play. And then before the opening ceremonies on that main court, and they didn't even have the chance to think about anything that was going to happen after. Or maybe they did, but and then that came, and it was so amazing. And then we had several other games that were so tight. Yeah, all of our other games against our European competition and Hong Kong were all one goal different games, and we got the privilege to play USA, Haudenosaunee, and Team Canada in one World Championship.
Team Canada, you were the first ones to score on them.
Yeah.
Because Canada was boasting how they hadn't been scored on.
And they posted on the social media 130 goals for and 0 goals against. So I put nail polish on my hands for that game, saying how many goals I wanted. It was 5. We only got 2, but that first one we were down already 10 goals or something, or even more. I don't know. And but that celebration was everything came out, and it was our captain H.E.R who did that. But yeah, it's always a team effort, of course. But
that was almost
the crowd exploded. Like there was the loudest cheer I heard at the tournament. We had great fans, and the girls, they kept enjoying themselves. And that was at the World Championship. There was a big shift in the level between the top teams and the bottom teams, but we enjoyed every moment playing them and playing play by play. And at some parts against Canada, we run with them. A longer part with the Haudenosaunee. America, we tied them 1-1. That was good too. But it's just an amazing experience. And then 2 overtime losses, which was unfortunate. There, the same thing happened what we did to Hong Kong. So we were up quite a little bit, and then maybe thinking it's possible to take your foot off the pedal, and that's a learning experience as well. That's not a good thing to do on international in any level, but especially on these long games. And then the same thing happened in the last game, and then we won it. So we learned from it.
Right.
My mission was top 6, so we became 7th, but we were pretty close to top 6. So
right, you won your group as well, didn't you?
I hope so, but we had America in our group, and we had the Haudenosaunee in our group. They were above us.
Right.
So we were number 3. So then we played Finland, and then because we played Finland in this round in between, we played the number 1 of the other group, and that was Canada.
How's that rivalry? The European rivalry, places like Finland. And
in the men's game, there is definitely some, but in the women's, it's all new, and they're all friendly friends because we organize tournaments to practice together because this is how we're starting the sport. So the captain of the Finnish team, she has practiced with us several times. Some girls from the German team practiced with us, and we went to a tournament in England to practice and play with these English girls. So they're very friendly, but very fierce as well in the field. Like there was the one transition I saw that I really wanted to teach my girls is we have to know that we are these strong, tall Dutch women, and they have to be scared for us, right? Because that's what the coach of England told me. Is like, I'm so glad your girls don't know how scary they are by just the size and their tallness. Like, because if they would understand, they would know that they will be unstoppable. So how they got a little glimpse of that. But no, it's great. Especially, of course, there's always a rivalry between the Germans and the Dutch. We had one day that both the men and the women played against Germany. For the men, it was actually the first time they played on the international level against each other. The Germans came on top, and with the women, we unfortunately lost in overtime. We were quite high up. It was the first international game that I played that the referee was from the same country that our opponent was from. That was pretty new, but for the rest, it was a pretty interesting game.
Yeah, we only have a few minutes left, and I want to make sure that we talk about your documentary,
Man.
and
Nobody cares about
where to find it and where to view it, because I love it myself. I have a cameo.
What is your experience, Gary? Because you've been running around with us, Dutchman, during the tournament. What was your experience?
I loved it. I loved watching the team grow. I love watching as a unit, and it really embodies what I've been saying forever about the lacrosse community. Is it isn't that big a community; it's a very tight knit community. One of the things that really I loved was when you got the teams like Canada, U.S., Haudenosaunee. It wasn't just play, walk away. We win, see ya. It was take time, chat with the other teams, show things, explain things, and really form a bond and I really love watching that. I spent more time watching before and after the games, and I actually paid attention during the games because of watching the bonds form, watching the knowledge being passed back and forth, watching experiences back and forth, and really it being a whole atmosphere more than just a game. It was a culture. It was everything that we've talked about lacrosse being, which makes it so special from every other sport that I can think of.
And that's it, man. That's it. And some of the girls have they created friendships. One of our girls she's traveling with some of the Canadian players to Australia to play in some tournaments, and it's amazing. And that's the essence of my documentary as well. Is www.turo.nl if you're interested. And we talk about like lacrosse is for now more important, but it's bringing community together and the international community. The greatest compliment we had from the consul general that was there, or the deputy consul, she's talking about the how do you call it, United Nations, but lacrosse was the real United Nations, because there we fight hard, play hard in the battle, and then we laugh afterwards. So
absolutely.
that's,
I want to thank you for taking your time, because I know it's late in the Netherlands right now, but really I want to thank you and always your hospitality when we're in person. And it's a pleasure.
I have to apologize. I was so busy with so many things, Gary, that I didn't really get to spend quality time with you this time, but I know somewhere. And this was 40 minutes of quality time again.
Absolutely. And Prague is on the horizon.
Yeah. And we got She-Box after the memorial now. So that's, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's just a reminder for myself. Hey, Frank, great technology, man.
Yeah.
You got the webcam on?
Awesome. When it works.
Yes.
Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it, Arttu.
Yeah. And make sure to talk to Jasper, because he can tell you a lot of other insights of and the field program.
I'll be able to book him in December.
And Sixes, let's go Olympic.
Absolutely.
Yes. Will you come for that?
Whoever wants. Like I have not heard from our Sixes camp yet, so I have to see and figure out how everything.
Well, we hope
works.
you make it here.
I will always make it.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I saw a great video now, somebody explaining about field lacrosse and then box lacrosse and then Sixes, and that's like, oh, that's a lot of explaining to do when somebody doesn't know your sport. So that was something different.
They only need to watch the Sixes to understand the game, the basic game. That this is just a commercial, essentially. It's a commercial.
And what player would be better in Sixes, a box player or a field player? Just
box player.
Well, yeah, okay.
More accurate, better in tight spots.
The field is small.
Let's mix
field.
Best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it depends. Also, as we're saying, it depends also.
1 minute.
Specifically with players, right? The type of player, because some players can adapt, that are field players can adapt to the box game. And some box players have the ability or the talents or the inherent ability to be able to be good in field lacrosse.
All right.
It's time, man.
Okay.
Somebody's getting angry here.
then
my manager says my time's over.
All right. I'll say goodbye for both these guys. For Arttu.
Peace to the world. Peace to the world. Reciprocity.
Arttu Sesselaar and Gary Groob. I'm Candid, Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Lacrosse Talk, seen live here on Thursdays at 4 p.m. The show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Lacrosse Talk, news, entertainment, and other sports programming we offer, check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. See you next time.
Arrivederci.